Welcome to my latest case, Ghost Dogs of Moon Lake. To start playing, choose either Junior or Senior Detective. If you're new to adventure games or need some help, choose Tutorial. Dear Ned, remember Sally McDonald, the woman who took those photos that Dad has up in his office? Well, she just bought a house in Moon Lake, Pennsylvania. A gangster named Mickey Malone built it back in the 20s as his country getaway. We're talking major fixer-upper. Anyway, last night Sally called and she said she desperately needed my detective skills. She refused to say why over the phone. Naturally, I said I'd drive to Moon Lake immediately. But weird things started happening the moment I pulled up. First, this big tree fell down behind my car and has me totally blocked in. And then I discovered that Sally's gone. She left a note that suggested something terrible happens here at night. She's supposed to call me from her car. So here I sit, writing to you while I wait for the phone to ring. It's nighttime, and although part of me is dying to know what frightened Sally away, another part of me is starting to feel a little uneasy. I'll let you know what happens. Ever yours, Nancy. Hello?
Nancy, hi, it's Sally. We have to talk fast because I'm in my car and my cell phone's running low, so we might get cut off. But did you see my note?
Yes, are you all right?
No, I feel awful bailing on you like that. You must think I'm such a flake.
I'm just worried about you. What's wrong?
I couldn't stand the thought of spending another night there. I knew you were on your way, but it didn't help. I just got too scared.
What's to be scared of? It's so peaceful and quiet here.
Just wait until it gets dark, then you'll see. What am I saying? Nancy, you shouldn't be there by yourself either. Why don't you just go get in your car and go home? Or drive to Philadelphia. My aunt's got plenty of room.
No way. You've got me so curious, I wouldn't leave even if I could.
What do you mean?
A tree fell down behind my car just as I was driving up to the house. I'm blocked in.
Oh, the dead maple beside the driveway. Oh, they told me it was in danger of falling over when I had the place inspected. I just never got around to doing anything about it. Listen, call M's Emporium. That's a store on the lake. Emily knows everybody. She'll know who to call if she decides to answer her phone.
It's late. Won't the store be closed?
Where's my brain? Okay, look. I just bought a little outboard motorboat. I haven't used it yet, but the guy who put it in for me said it should run just fine. It's tied up at the dock out front. Just get in it and go. Go anywhere. Just get away from the house.
I can't just take off in your boat. It's pitch black outside.
Then listen to me. Go around the house and lock all the doors and windows. Do that right now.
There aren't any locks on the doors and windows. What are you so afraid of?
The dogs. Those dogs. Out of nowhere. They're outside howling and snarling. Teeth and claws. Horrible.
Dogs? Hello? Did you say dogs? Hello? What is that? Something's out there.
Now look what you've done. That was a Strix Varia. At least I think it was. Never know for sure now, will I?
Who are you?
My name's Red Knot. And if you've got a volume knob, I'd appreciate your taking it down a notch before you scare away everything from here to Lancaster.
I'm Nancy Drew. What were all those noises out here just now?
That was me, Miss Nancy Drew, calling in birds. And doing a pretty good job of it, too, till you showed up. Where'd you come from, anyway?
I drove in today from River Heights to visit my friend Sally McDonald.
Now, why would you want to do a thing like that? The Malone house is no place for one young woman, let alone two.
What do you know about the woman living here?
I talked to her a couple of times. But you know, the last time I saw her, she wasn't doing so good. She acted real anxious, scared.
Did she say what was wrong?
The dogs. The dogs of Mickey Malone. Legend goes that when Malone was finally arrested and hauled away, his 4 dogs went running off into the woods and were never seen again. People would just hear 'em, howling like their hearts were broken every night until one by one, they all died and went silent. But every time someone tries living in the Malone house, back they come.
What do the dogs do?
Every night, ever since she moved in, you could hear 'em howling. And some nights the dogs would appear outside the house, running around, snarling and barking and throwing themselves at the doors and windows. And then they'd be gone. They're buried in the cemetery just beyond the house, you know. Them and Malone both.
Did they ever attack Sally?
She never gave them the chance. After the first attack, she stopped going out at night. Just locked the doors when it got dark and sat tight until morning.
Why haven't the police investigated?
This isn't New York City, Miss Nancy Drew. All they got around here is one officious little park ranger. And all Jeff Akers does is sit around all day trying to figure out how he can get himself transferred out of here to a bigger park.
Do you live close by?
I just come to Moon Lake in the spring to look for birds. Got an observation platform just up the path, kinda my base camp, and I've got a little outboard down there on the lake. Left my car at the big dock up lake. Don't really need it.
Are those the ghost dogs?
Yes, ma'am. Which is why I think it would be a good idea if I went my merry way and you got yourself back inside that house. Good luck, Miss Nancy Drew.
This is not good. Looks like paw prints. The boat's full of water. The spark plug is missing.
Hello?
Hey, Sally, it's Nancy.
Nancy, did you see them? Did you see the dogs?
Yes, I did, and I can understand why you left. They were pretty frightening. But if it's okay with you, I'd really like to stay and get to the bottom of whatever's going on. That's why you asked me here in the first place, right?
Yes, but Nancy, are you sure?
Positive. Consider Detective Drew officially on the case.
I wish I were even half the trooper you are, Nancy. I have such high hopes for that house. All the beauty there, the wildlife, all the pictures I was going to take. It would break my heart to have to give it up.
I need you to tell me everything you can about those dogs.
They're black and they have yellow glowing eyes and they don't like me one bit.
When's the first time you saw them?
Well, let's see. I heard them the very first night I was here. I heard them almost every night, howling in the distance, but I didn't actually see them until I'd been here about a week. After that, they started appearing pretty much every other night.
Did they always come around the same time, or did it vary?
Actually, they always came around the same time. What are you getting at?
These attacks seem to involve a lot of choreography, which reinforces my theory that you're not being randomly attacked by a pack of wild dogs, but by dogs who've been trained by someone determined to scare you out of your house at Moon Lake.
Who would want to do that? My closest neighbor lives 2 miles away. My property is surrounded by the state park, but it's off-season, so hardly anybody is in the park. In fact, I bet I talked to a total of 3 people the whole 4 weeks I was at Moon Lake.
Which 3 people?
Let's see, the park ranger, I forget his name, kind of a pain in the neck. Emily Griffin, she's the one who owns that store I told you about. And I ran into this bird watcher a couple of times. Had a funny name.
Red Knot. I've run into him too.
Other than people I may have nodded hello to while getting gas or something, I swear those are the only people I've talked to at Moon Lake.
What about River Heights? Can you think of anyone there who'd want you to sell your house at Moon Lake and move back to River Heights?
You mean like an angry ex-boyfriend or something? Nope, I sure can't.
Since I'm going to be staying here a while, is there anything I should know about the place?
Well, let's see. I've got the water turned off because it's well water and it needs to be tested before I can use it for anything. In fact, if you could get that testing done for me, I'd really appreciate it. Oh, and watch where you walk in the living room. Some of the floorboards are so rotten you could fall right through. And I keep hearing these faint squeaks and rustling type noises coming from below the floor. I hope you're not scared of mice.
Your outboard motorboat is missing a spark plug. Is there one around here by any chance?
I wouldn't know a spark plug if I swallowed one whole. But you need that boat, Nancy. Right now, it's your lifeline. You can't use your car, and believe me, you can't walk anywhere because all the paths around the house end in this thick, horrible brush. You've got to get it fixed. Wait a minute. The bird watcher, he's got a boat. Maybe you could borrow his spark plug or something. Go down the path that's to the right as you look out toward the lake from the house, and you'll eventually see his observation platform. Try him at night. He never seems to be around during the day.
Who did you say I should call about getting rid of that tree?
Emily Griffin. She doesn't bother answering her phone sometimes, so don't call her. Go see her. Her store's on the west side of the lake. And brace yourself, M's Emporium is something else.
How well do you know her?
I feel like I've known her all my life. She's so open and friendly. She likes to make it sound as if Moon Lake used to be a major hangout for criminals and degenerates, which isn't really true and irks some people around here no end. But I figure she's just trying to make a buck.
How do I go about getting your water tested?
Try the ranger station on the east side of the lake. I've been told you can get some kind of kit there.
I'm curious. Why did you characterize the park ranger as a pain in the neck?
I left part of a ham sandwich on a picnic table once. Big mistake. From the way he carried on, you'd think I just made the FBI's 10 most wanted list. I don't think he likes me. Emily says it's because I wrecked his dream of becoming super ranger or something when I bought the Malone house instead of the parks department. Me, I think he just basically has a problem relating to people unless they're asking questions or breaking the law.
Talk to you later.
Keep me posted.
It's stuck. I need some sandpaper. A face only a gnome could love. Oh, the key broke off. Those look too rotten. The moon's so bright, I won't need my flashlight.
Well, it's Miss Nancy Drew.
Please, just call me Nancy.
I will if you keep your voice down. I just heard a cerulean warbler.
Really? Are they rare?
Something tells me they're gonna be with you around. You didn't come up here to chit-chat, did you?
Do you know much about outboard motors?
Sure do. Only type of motorized vehicle that's allowed on Moon Lake. Heck, if it were up to me, I'd ban them too. Have everybody get around by canoe. Nothing like the threat of physical activity to keep tourists away.
Why don't you like tourists?
I came to see birds, not people. The more people there are in a forest, the fewer birds there are. It's a fact of life. Reason I like to come here is because nobody else does. It's perfect. Not a decent grocery store, restaurant, or motel for miles.
There's no place nearby that sells boat parts? Sally's outboard is missing a spark plug.
I might be able to help you out. After all, I was a Boy Scout. Be prepared.
You mean you have a spark plug I could buy?
Well, just so happens I've got 2 spark plugs right here in my pocket. Question is, if I give you one, what do I get for it? I don't need cash, but maybe you could take a few pictures for me. Know how to use a digital camera?
Sure. What would you like me to take pictures of?
Birds, of course. There's a couple of birds I'm supposed to take pictures of for PEPSOB. That's People for the Preservation and Study of Birds. You can recognize them by their songs, which are on this tape, which you can play on my cassette player, which you're gonna have to get from M's Emporium as soon as you get your boat fixed. Think you can handle that?
I know I can.
Here's everything you'll need. M's Emporium is up lake on the west side. Not that I'm trying to get you out of my hair or anything, but try not to come pestering me till you're done, okay? One more thing. You smoke?
Only when I'm on fire.
Oh, you're a spunky one, aren't you? Well, these woods may not look it, but they're tinder dry. One lit match, and the best bird habitat on the East Coast will go up in smoke. So watch what you do, 'cause if anything like that happens, I won't be looking for birds anymore, I'll be looking for you. Watch yourself out there.
there! Welcome to M's Emporium. I'm Emily Griffin.
My name's Nancy Drew. I'm staying out at the old Malone place. You know, the house Sally McDonald bought?
Now, what's she doing inviting guests out to that old dump?
She's got a little problem she's hoping I can solve. But right now, I need a chainsaw.
A chainsaw?
A tree fell down in the driveway behind my car, and now I'm blocked in.
I'll get Tucker Davis to take care of it. Gotta warn you, though. Tucker tends to do things in his own sweet time. So how come Sally ain't with you?
The ghost dog scared her off.
I told her. I said, Sally, that old house is gonna be nothing but trouble. And sure enough, Malone's hounds have come back. Just when we all thought they were finally resting in peace.
When was the last time they appeared?
Seems like they show up every time somebody buys the place. So the last time would have been 10, 15 years ago.
Have you ever seen the dogs?
Nope. Don't want to, neither. Just hearing them howl's bad enough. Scares the bejeebies out of me.
I got the bejeebies scared out of me twice last night. Just before I saw the dogs, I caught a man named Red Knot prowling around outside the house.
The bird watcher. Comes in every so often to stock up on that weirdo food he eats. You know how them tree hugger types are.
Has he been in the area long?
About as long as those pink-billed warblers and purple-eyed owls he's always chasing have been around. Couple of months, I guess.
Mr. Knott did me a favor, and in return he asked me to pick up a cassette player from you.
Oh, yeah, I got it right here. Thought maybe the old coot had forgotten he left it here. What else can I do you for?
I need to get the water from Sally's well tested. How would I go about doing that, do you know?
Just get a water testing kit from the ranger station and follow the directions.
Where's the ranger station?
Just up lake from Sally's on the east side.
Why would there be a problem with the water?
'Cause it's well water. And seeing as Malone dug that well 80 years ago, what gets pumped out of it could be pretty funky.
Where do you find your... Achoo!
Bless you. It's all the dust. Sometimes I think it grows on this stuff.
Some of those old bottles are beautiful. Where'd you get them?
Found 'em. See, back in the days of Prohibition, that old Malone place used to be party central. Only way to get to and from back then was by boat. And when those boats dumped, on account of bad weather or bad driving or the feds suddenly showing up, well, everything from diamond necklaces to full bottles of illegal booze sank to the bottom of the lake.
So it's finders keepers, huh?
That's right. See, recovering objects from the lake bed is illegal. According to Squeaky Wheel Acres, dragging the lake for artifacts was upsetting its delicate eco-balance. So thanks mostly to his constant squawking, the state banned it.
Squeaky Wheel Acres?
Jeff Akers, local park ranger. I keep telling him all this stuff washed up on shore. But does that snobby little stickler for rules believe me?
Sounds like you aren't real fond of Ranger Acres.
Jeff Akers could take all his precious rules and regulations and take a flying leap. Now, I got nothing against getting more customers in here, mind you. But I kind of like Moon Lake the way it is. Small, quiet, out of the way. But Jeff Akers, why, there's nothing he'd like better than to see all the lake and all the property around it turned into one big, noisy, jam-packed state park.
Why would he want that?
He's the type of guy who likes to boss people around, makes them feel important. So if the park got way bigger and was crawling with tourists, why, instead of giving out maybe one ticket for littering every 2 days, he'd be giving out 12 tickets every 2 hours. He'd be in heaven. Well, hey, I'm sure you got better things to do than getting your ear chewed off by yours truly.
I need to buy something.
You want it? I got it. Long as you pay cash, that is.
That's just it. I'm running kind of low on cash. Would it be possible to start a line of credit?
My daddy always said, neither a borrower nor a lender be. But I'll tell you what. Seeing as how you're a friend of Sally's, and seeing as how I got some things around here that could use doing, I guess we could work something out. What is it you need?
Do you sell sandpaper by any chance?
I do, but Mr. Birdbrain was in last week and cleaned me out. Said he was tired of that observation platform of his giving him splinters in his hinter regions.
Think I could get some from him?
He's your only hope. But you better ask him for it quick. That deck of his is pretty big, and those squares I sold him are pretty small.
Guess I'll see you later.
Always a pleasure.
Ew!
Hello, can I help you?
Hi, my name's Nancy Drew. I'm visiting Sally McDonald. Are you the park ranger?
Park Ranger Jeff Akers, at your service. Let's see, Sally McDonald is the woman who bought the old Malone place.
That's right, only she's gone back to Philadelphia. Malone's dogs got to her.
Don't tell me she believes all that ghost dog stuff.
I saw them myself.
Whatever's out there, I'm sure they're no more and no less than exactly what they look and sound like. Dogs. Living, breathing, very noisy dogs.
Why do you think dogs would attack Sally's house?
Dogs can be trained to do almost anything.
Any idea what would make a dog's eyes glow yellow?
Something in their diet, maybe? Some oddball vitamin or protein.
As a park ranger, don't you want to know for sure what's behind these dog attacks?
Do you always ask this many questions?
As a matter of fact, I do.
I'm a very busy man, Miss Drew, but I am here to serve the public.
Do you have something I could use to test the well water at Sally's?
Sure do. Simple to use, too. Just pump some water into this vial, return the sample to me, I'll send it off, and in a day or two you'll find out whether or not your water's fit to drink.
Does everyone out here have a well?
Everyone who doesn't want to die of thirst does. Hooking up to a municipal water supply is out of the question. Too expensive.
This place isn't exactly your ordinary ranger station, is it?
It's also the Moon Lake Post Office, and it's the unofficial Moon Lake Museum of Factual and Natural History. I've lived here all my life, so I can't help but feel obligated to protect not only the area's flora and fauna, but also its past.
So you know all about Mickey Malone?
As a member of the law enforcement community, I prefer to dwell on the positive aspects of history instead of on the activities of a bunch of glorified thugs.
As an officer of the law, can you think of anyone who might want to scare Sally off her property?
The woman who owns the shop across the lake? Emily Griffin? I can't prove it, but I'm pretty sure she's been dragging the lake in front of Malone's house for artifacts, which is illegal. It would be a lot easier for her to do her dirty work if nobody was living there.
Do you think it would be best if Malone's house was just torn down and forgotten?
Not necessarily. It's hard to ignore its potential as a tourist attraction. And if that's what it takes to draw more people to Moon Lake, I'm a reasonable man.
Would you mind mailing this letter for me?
Not at all.
Would it be okay if I looked around?
Please do. And if you have any questions, any more questions, just ask.
Thanks for all your help.
Always a pleasure. Oh, and one last thing. The deer mouse population has boomed this year, so please take precautions if you're cleaning out any area where they may have nested. They can carry some nasty diseases.
Thanks for the tip, Ranger Akers. I probably shouldn't mess around with this without Ranger Akers' permission.
Nancy, how's it going?
Hey, Bess. How'd you know it was me?
Telepathy, of course. Just another of my many talents. You are so full of it. She got caller ID, Nancy. So now, instead of hanging up on the geeks that always call her, she just doesn't answer the phone. Very funny. So what's up?
Believe it or not, on some nights, this house gets attacked by a pack of dogs. Sally's so scared of them, she left me here by myself.
Did you say dogs? She couldn't have, George. Dogs don't attack houses.
They were definitely dogs. They came out of nowhere and started leaping at the windows and scratching at the doors like they wanted to get in.
Maybe that was just their way of being friendly.
These dogs were not friendly, believe me, and they had glowing yellow eyes. A birdwatcher I ran into said they were ghosts.
Ghosts?
The man who built Sally's place on Moon Lake was a gangster. The birdwatcher said that the ghosts of his dogs show up every time someone new tries to live here.
The place is haunted by ghost dogs? Like there's such a thing as ghosts. But it does sound like you've got another mystery on your hands, Detective Drew.
Moon Lake is gorgeous, but it's so remote. The park ranger is the closest thing they have to a sheriff around here.
Park ranger? What's he like? Which, as we all know, is Bess's way of saying, park ranger? Is he cute? Not true, George. Nancy thinks everybody's cute, so what would be the point? Anyway, Nancy, you were saying?
His name's Jeff Akers. He's very helpful, polite, efficient, knowledgeable.
Sounds boring.
In fact, he probably knows more about the area than all the other residents of Moon Lake combined.
Sounds very boring. What's he know about these alleged ghost dogs?
He thinks they're just plain old dogs that for some reason like to run around at night scaring people.
And what does Detective Drew think about the dogs?
I think Sally had good reason to be scared of them. I don't blame her for leaving, which leads me to think that maybe that was the whole idea.
Somebody had those dogs attack Sally in order to scare her away? Why would anybody do that? She was there for less than a month. You'd have to be a total creep to make enemies that fast. And Sally's one of the nicest people I know. Ooh, Nancy! Speaking of cute guys, Frank and Joe Hardy called. I filled them in on where you are and what you're doing, and they're dying to hear from you.
Oh, yeah? What are they up to?
Compared to you, nothing. As I was telling them about this latest case of yours, I could hear them turning green with envy right through the receiver. Their number is 280-555-4865. Bess didn't recognize it when they called and almost didn't answer the phone. Good thing my cousin here has a memory like an elephant, huh? What's that supposed to mean? Call them, Nancy. They're dying to hear from you. But remember, Frank's cute and all that, but George and I want to hear from you, too. Yeah, no fair discussing the case with them from now on and not with us. Promise you'll keep us up to speed?
I promise. This birdwatcher I met has got me taking pictures of birds for some survey he's doing. He's a bit of a grump.
Does he live nearby?
No, he just kind of hangs out in the woods. In fact, I only see him at night.
Interesting. He's in the woods at night. The dogs are in the woods at night. Could he have had a reason for wanting Sally out of the Malone house?
As far as I know, he and Sally were on good terms. But I also know that Red doesn't seem to have much use for any life form that doesn't molt.
He sounds like my Uncle Zach. He's into birds. Only he doesn't watch them. He hunts them, then shoots them. I never really liked my Uncle Zach.
Did I mention that all the water in Sally's house comes from a well?
Ew, really? Does it taste like rotten eggs? Not all well water tastes like rotten eggs, Bess.
I don't know if it does or not, because the well is so old, I need to get the water tested before I drink it.
Good plan. Nothing will wreck your day faster than a nice tall glass of contaminated water.
Bye, you guys.
Don't be a stranger. Take care.
Hello?
Hey, Sally, it's Nancy.
Nancy, hi. How's it going?
Is there a trick to getting your pump to work? When I pump the handle to get a water sample, nothing comes out.
It needs to be primed. Take some good water, like from the jug in the kitchen. Pour it into the top of the pump, then start pumping. That wets the seals so they expand and make a vacuum or something. You have to do it every so often, whenever the seals dry out.
Where'd all that stuff in your tool shed come from?
It's just junk left behind by previous owners. Came with the house. I've been meaning to take inventory and start pitching stuff, but I didn't. If they ever make procrastination a crime, I'm done for.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Hello?
Hey, Joe, it's Nancy.
Nancy, how's it going? No, wait, don't answer that. Talk about the weather or something.
The weather?
Yeah, that'll give me time to grab the other phone and take it outside. Frank's washing the car. He'll kill me if he misses anything. Here, wait a sec. Take a break, it's Nancy. Hang on, he's putting the hose down. He's drying his hands. He's walking over.
Nancy, hi. What's up? Bess and George say you've got another mystery on your hands.
Or should we say, on your paws.
They told you about the dogs?
We made them tell us everything. Pumped them dry.
As you may have guessed, we're not exactly rolling in detective work here.
So you're living vicariously through me.
It's not the first time, sad to say.
What conclusions have you reached so far, Detective?
If nothing else, those ghost dogs are very well trained. I'm watching to see who owns and/or trains dogs around here.
Good plan. But don't forget, a really smart perpetrator is going to make it look like he or she has no connection to dogs whatsoever.
But then a really, really smart perp might have dogs all over the place and not bother to hide it, because he or she would figure you'd never suspect anyone so obvious.
Emily Griffin doesn't seem to have any dogs.
Uh-oh. Move her up on your suspect list.
I'd move her down.
You know, Joe, something tells me we're not helping.
I'm convinced that someone is using those ghost dogs to scare Sally into abandoning Malone's house. If I can just figure out why, I might be able to figure out who.
Never hurts to look for motive.
Later, guys.
You bet.
Bye, Nancy.
You're back.
I noticed you have a dog.
That's Yogi, who never goes out unless he's on a leash. Park rules.
I couldn't help but notice that he's about the same size as those ghost dogs were.
I hope you're not suggesting I trained Yogi to run around in the middle of the night barking and attacking houses.
I have that water sample. What do I do with it?
Just give it to me, and I'll take care of it.
Thanks for all your help.
That's why I'm here.
American goldfinch. Northern cardinal. Red-tailed hawk. Western tanager.
I'd better be careful. Darn, it flew away. These look like dog tracks. Missed it. Missed it. No birds here. I must have scared it.
You find all the birds?
I found some birds, but no matter how quiet I am, I've been scaring other birds away before I can take their picture. What am I doing wrong?
You're wearing those clothes. That's what you're doing wrong. You need to blend in, like me. Go back over to M's tacky tourist trap and get yourself some camouflage gear. Only sensible thing that money grubber carries.
I'm sorry to keep bugging you, but I need some sandpaper. Emily said you might have some.
Here, take it and scram. I was just about to call in a meadowlark. That was always Ruth's favorite.
Was Ruth your wife?
Good heavens, no. My wife had no patience for birding. Ruth was my dog. Border collie. She'd hear a meadowlark, and by golly, her ears would perk, and she'd cock her head, and she'd just come as close to smiling as ever a dog could.
Was she the only dog you ever had?
Yep. Wouldn't be worth the hassle anymore. Especially now that I'm retired and spend so much time at Moon Lake. The place is surrounded by park land, and Ranger Acres just loves enforcing the leash laws. There it is again. Take your sandpaper and go sand something, okay?
It's stuck. It could be mice making that sound. It looks like a tiny hole. It looks like a tiny hole. It's blocked. William Akers? I wonder if he's related to Jeff Akers.
You're back.
Where's Yogi?
In the run out back. Even out of sight, he's under my full control, as park rules require.
What do you know about the cemetery behind the Malone house?
People are buried there. Beyond that, what's to know?
Is Malone buried there?
That's the rumor.
The inscription on one of the tombstones reads Waldo Matthias. Does that name ring any bells?
Not in my steeple.
I found a newspaper dating back to 1927 in Sally's house. Since you're kind of an expert on the history of Moon Lake, do you mind if I ask you some questions about Mickey Malone?
Not at all.
The article mentioned that a man named William Akers used to work for Malone. Is he a relative of yours?
No. Quite a coincidence, I'll admit, but no. I am in no way related to the head flunky of some two-bit gangster and his gang of thugs.
I found this old picture in Sally's house. Do you know who these people are?
The man is Mickey Malone, I know that. I'm guessing that this is his girlfriend, Vivian Burnett, I think her name was. And judging by the year of that brand new Ford in the background, I'd say the picture was taken in 1928.
She was probably as familiar with Malone's house and his dogs as he was. Think there's any chance she's still alive?
Tell you what, Miss Drew. Why don't I go through my files and see what I can dig up on this mystery woman? I'm a busy man, but like I always say, I'm here to serve.
Have you gotten the results back from that water sample I left with you?
I meant to call the Department of Health today for a status report, but frankly, I've been way too busy.
Sounds like Moon Lake could use 2 rangers.
If I were in charge of just 10 more acres of parkland, they'd give me an assistant, and I could devote more time to the acquisition of more land and eventually put Moon Lake on the map as one of the biggest, most popular parks in the state.
Why didn't the Parks Department buy the Malone property instead of Sally?
She outbid them, the cheapskates.
Well, if those dogs scare Sally away for good, other people are bound to think twice about buying the place. The bank will lower its price, and you'll have your land.
You're insinuating things again, Miss Drew.
I'm sorry, I really am. It's just that Sally's my friend, and I'd really like to find out why someone's doing this to her.
Tell you what, if you're serious about making amends, there's some boxes by the computer labeled with dates. They're from the estate of a local history buff. She kept everything from newspaper clippings to old photos to recipes for apple crisp. She put everything in envelopes, then numbered them by year using Roman numerals. Just put the envelopes in order by year with the earliest date in front. Oh, and if you're rusty on Roman numerals, there's an entry on them in the computer.
Okay if I read what's in the envelopes?
Don't go reading anything until you're through, or take my word for it, you'll never get finished.
I've been trying to take pictures of birds for this guy named Red Knot. Ever met him?
Oh yes, the Birdman. I'd stay away from him if I were you.
Why? Is something wrong with him?
He's a fanatic. He's got it in his head that Moon Lake would be the best birdwatching venue in the world except for one thing: too many people. Believe me, If there was a way to get this park shut down and all the homes on the lake torn down, he'd do it in an instant.
When and why was Malone arrested?
I'm sorry, Ms. Drew. As usual, I'm a little pressed for time. If you have more questions, why don't you sit down at the computer and peruse the Moon Lake database of fascinating factoids that I've put together?
What happened to Akers and the rest of Malone's gang after he went to prison?
Fortunately for Moon Lake, they all left and went their separate ways.
Thanks for all your help.
That's why I'm here.